friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Garden. Hey friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden, and welcome to the first 2023 monthly wrap-up. We are going to talk about all of the games that I played in the month of January of 2023. These will be the basic board game stats as well as the games that we played multiplayer, and then like usual I will be going over all of the games that I played solo this month in the next video, which will be up on Monday. But yes, I have my board game stats right here ready to go. I do want to preface this video by saying that I started off this year wanting to track all of the stats, so the scores, the winners, all of those things for all of these games. Guys, I kid you not, I got maybe like 3 games in for the year and I was like, I can't do it. I'm sorry guys. My one goal was to track the scores this year, but I failed and I don't think I can do it. And I think the reason why is because personally for me, I don't care about winning. I don't care what the end score is. I think just board gaming to me, I always say this, but I enjoy the journey of playing a game and I don't really care about the destination, aka the end result. I don't care if I win, I just enjoy playing the games. So yes, that is why I think I just don't care enough about the end score to be like, oh, let me get out my stats thing, and also most of the time I do lose. So it's kind of hard at the end of a game to be like, oh, let me just put in these horrible stats that just happened there and me getting kicked in the butt by Francis. So yes, anyways, just wanted to preface this video by saying that I am only for the rest of the year. I know some of you really wanted to see the like scores and stuff, but I can't. So for the rest of the year, we're just doing games I played, with who and where, and that will be good enough for me to track my stats personally. But anyways, without further ado, if you guys want to see my stats for January, then just keep on watching. Give this video a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you are not part of the garden yet. We would love to have you here. Also, I have linked down below the new Board Game Garden Patreon. If you guys do not know, I opened a Patreon this year at like mid-January and it has been going wonderfully. Everyone over there is so nice and they've been helping me with what games Francis and I play next, what videos to put up. The Shelf of Shame live stream that I just had a few days ago, that was actually because of Patreon. A lot of people wanted to see all of the games that we had on our Shelf of Opportunity. So yes, I've been loving Patreon so much. Huge shout out to anyone that has decided to support the Board Game Garden so far. I appreciate you guys so much. And yes, I will also have the Twitch channel link down below. I'll have the Discord link down below, all of the things that you guys can connect with the Board Game Garden community. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this January monthly wrap-up, shall we? So getting into the stats for the month, I am using BG Stats. If you guys do not know, this is the app. Without further ado, I always say that. But for the month of January, we started out the year with a bang. I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. I'm very proud. But we played a total of 37 times, 26 different games, and then I believe 18 of those games were new to us. Wow, we played a lot of new games in January, which makes me very happy because going into this year, we had a ton of unplayed games, and that's like one of my main goals for the next few months is to get a lot of the games on our Shelf of Opportunity played. And then for Board Game Arena stats, I had 48 different plays and I played a ton of different games. Absolutely been loving BGA. I pretty much every single morning when I wake up, I grab my coffee, I sit at the dining table and I play my turns on all of my I almost said asymmetrical. My async games, so turn-based games. I just play my turns and then I go and start working and it's just been great. So yes, those are all the games that I played on BGA, but let's get into all the games that we played physically this month, shall we? All right, so with the monthly wrap-ups, I think what I've decided to do is I'm just gonna put the boxes here instead of, like, I'm starting to play a lot more games, and I feel like it might get a little bit difficult taking all the games physically off of my shelves and piling them beside me and stuff like that. So starting off with January 1st, this was the first game that Francis and I played for the year. And I am so happy this was the first game that Francis and I played because we are both obsessed with this game now, and that is Wayfarers of the South Tigris. It's funny because this ended up being my favorite game of 2022, and I didn't even play it until the 1st of January of 2023. So yes, Wayfarers of the South Tigris is published by Garfield Games as well as Renegade Game Studios, and it is designed by Shem Phillips and Sam McDonald, and oh my goodness, I think this so far is my favorite out of all of the Garfield Games trilogies. We have the full trilogy of the West Kingdom, we've played Architects and Viscounts, still haven't played Paladins, which I think might be like in contention, if that's the right word, I'm not sure. But it might be close to Wayfarers, we will see. But Francis and I have really been enjoying Wayfarers of the South Tigris. We've played it, I think 3 times. I'll let you guys know like kind of when we played it, but we played this on stream over on Twitch. I always have it linked down below. But Wayfarers of the South Tigris, you are building up a tableau of cards. There are land cards, there are sea cards, and then there are like outer space or star cards that you build above. And you're building out this tableau in order to have the most points at the end of the game. And throughout the game, on your turn, you are either going to be placing a die onto one of your cards in your tableau, or you're going to be placing a worker onto the main board, or actually it is like one of the cards, but each card has a coordinating worker placement spot that you are going to be doing. So you're trying to get different cards, you're trying to go up on the journaling track, and it is just so much fun. There's a little bit of a race aspect because you're trying to get to the end of the journaling track first. And once you do that, you trigger the end of the game. And the main way kind of to get points in this game is to have different sets of the specific tags on all of the cards. So you're trying to collect different cities and vistas, I believe they're called, as well as open water and harbor. And then also you have the star cards and the moon cards and stuff up above that give you some end of game points. There's also this caravan mechanic where you are placing tiles in order to set specific things that each of your die numbers can be used for. So that's kind of a little bit of a like dice worker placement manipulation, which is probably one of my favorite parts of Wayfarers. So anyways, yes, that is the first game that we played on the 1st of January, Wayfarers of the South Tigris. And then I will mention that we also played it again the next day on January 2nd, and then we played it again with our friends Tom and Asha on January 6th, which speaking of, that was the next time that we played some games. I did play some solo ones in between there, but we'll talk about those in the next video. But our friends Tom and Asha came over. We started off the night with Strike, which Strike is from Ravensburger, and this is just a fun, lighthearted dice rolling game, dice chucking game, if you will. And the rules are so simple, but yet it is so entertaining. You can play it with up to, I believe, 5 people, and I freaking love this game. At first I saw it and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's like such a dumb game, but it is so much fun, guys. I played this with my parents actually as well in December, I believe, but basically on your turn, everyone starts with the same amount of dice, and you're going to be rolling those dice into this little stadium, and whenever you get an X die, those have to be taken out of the game, and then any duplicates of any numbers, you get to take those back, but if you don't have any duplicates, and if you don't have any dice, then you're out of the game. You're literally just trying to get duplicates of dice numbers in order to stay in the game, and then whoever is left at the end with some dice still is the winner, and it is just such a hoot. Such a hoot. Just a lighthearted one to start off the night. Really, really happy that we ended up playing that. And then we also played another, I think we actually played Wayfarers of the South Tigris after that, and then we finished off the night with Downtown Farmers Market. Like I told you guys, it's pretty similar to Lost Seas, but basically it's kind of like a Sudoku-esque tile laying game. I absolutely love Sudoku, and I love the puzzles of like trying to get things in rows and columns, But basically at the beginning of the game, you get 4 objective tiles at the top and 4 at the side. And then you are drafting these tiles that have fruits, and no, there's no fruits, vegetables and produce. And then you're trying to get these specific objectives. So there might be one column that you need 2 eggs and 4 corn on the cob. So you're trying to get tiles, draft tiles to get those specific objectives, but then you're also looking at the rows, you're looking at all the rest of the columns, and you're trying to work out this puzzle of getting all of those 8 objectives. It is so fun. If you love Sudoku and those like kind of brain-burny puzzles, then this is one that I definitely recommend. The art is very, very cute, and yes, that is Downtown Farmers Market. That was the Friday, January 6th with our friends, Tom and Asha, and then they did sleep over, and we played 2 just classic games with them. We started off the morning with 7 Wonders. We absolutely love 7 Wonders. It's been one that we've played a ton with Tom and Asha, and we haven't played it for a while, and Asha said, hey, can we please play 7 Wonders? It's been so long. So we ended up playing 7 Wonders with them in the morning, and we actually played it with the Leaders expansion. We still have yet to play the Cities expansion, which in my Shelf of Opportunity video, I mentioned that that is probably the game that I've had in the collection the longest that we still have yet to play. I think we've had the Cities expansion for 7 Wonders for like 2 years now, and we still have yet to get it to the table. So that is a goal of mine very soon, is to play 7 Wonders with the Cities expansion. But we played that, and then we finished off our board game weekend with my favorite game ever, and that is Hadrian's Wall. And sadly, I did not win. I boasted before we started playing that I have been like playing Hadrian's Wall so much and I'm getting so good at it. And then Asha ended up beating me, so it was kind of funny. But again, I don't care about ending scores. I freaking love Hadrian's Wall and the gameplay of getting those workers and resources and trying to use and get as many things on your turn before you run out of workers and resources. It's just absolutely fantastic. I will never stop shutting up about Hadrian's Wall. So we ended our board game weekend with those 2 games, and then that following day on the Sunday, we actually had Francis' family over, and we ended up playing 3 games. One was Strike, like I just finished talking about. The second one was Hues and Cues. This is a fantastic party game. It can be played with big groups, which I love. And basically everybody on their turn, you're trying to get people to guess a color on this really pretty color board. So you are saying a 1-word clue to kind of get everyone to place their little cones on specific spots. And then whoever gets closest gets some certain amount of points. You actually have to have it within this like little square that you're gonna place around the color that you were trying to get people to guess. And the closer they are to that specific color, the more points you get. And it is just a very, very fun, again, lighthearted party game. And then lastly, for that board game night with Francis' family, we played Camel Up, which this is one that I have been wanting to add to the collection ever since Jeff and Jamie from Foster the Meeble talked about it. It is such a fun, again, a great game to play with big groups. I believe you can play up to 8 people. One of my goals after going through December and realizing we don't have a lot of games that play a lot of players for like family get-togethers and stuff, was to get more big group games, and Camel Up was one that we got early on in January, and I'm so, so happy that we did. It is such a fun racing betting game where you have these camels that are going around a track, and you are just betting on who is going to be in first and second place at the end of each round, but then also who is going to ultimately win first place at the end of the game. Like when the entire race is finished, if that makes sense. So you're betting and grabbing these tiles and getting money, and whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. And these camels are like hopping on the backs of each other based off of like a dice number that comes out of a little pyramid, which that pyramid is so cool. But yes, the camels are like going on top of each other. There's like a black and white camel that are going the opposite direction. So if any of the colored camels hop on the back of one of those camels, they're gonna start going backwards. So if any of the camels that you bet on started going backwards, fortunately we haven't had that happen yet, but I'm just waiting for the time that we play Camel Up and someone's bet is going to start going backwards and ending up in last place. So yes, that is Camel Up. Absolutely love that game. And then moving on to January 10th, this was a Tuesday live stream with Francis and I. We ended up playing the Castles of Burgundy Special Edition over on Twitch, and this Special Edition, guys, I cannot wait until the final version of the Castles of Burgundy Special Edition comes out or fulfills. It is absolutely beautiful. The prototype is even beautiful, so I can only imagine how amazing the final product is going to be, but we didn't play with the Vineyard expansion. I'm really hoping to get that to the table multiplayer eventually. I've only played the Vineyard expansion solo so far, which technically I don't have the like official solo mode for the special edition because it didn't come in the prototype, but I just played with the components from the special edition, but I played the solo variant from the other Castles of Burgundy, which I don't think really works out because that solo variant, you're literally just trying to build out your duchy, and I don't know if the mechanisms quite work with that when you're like also building out your vineyard. I don't know if it makes it more difficult to build out your duchy and complete your duchy, but it was fun. I enjoyed it, the solo, but I would really love to get the Vineyard expansion to the table multiplayer eventually, but Francis and I really enjoyed that. It's been a while since Francis has played the Castles of Burgundy, and after we finished playing, he's like, oh, I forgot how good Castles of Burgundy was. But yes, that is what we played on the 10th. On the 12th, we actually got a chance to play Unconscious Mind. We did receive a prototype. I did do a video all about Unconscious Mind. I think it's the past video before this one. Definitely go check it out. The late pledges for Unconscious Mind is now open, and it is such a fantastic game. I'm just gonna say it right now. I didn't really want to do a lot of opinions, or I didn't want to say a lot of my opinion in that video because it was a sponsored video, but now that we're just talking about games that we played in January, Unconscious Mind is, wow, just so good. We played it a few times in January, and I'm so thankful that we had the opportunity to play it before it came out. So we played that. That was our, I think that was our first play before we actually live streamed it. We live streamed it a few weeks later. But we actually got together with Francis's parents again on that following weekend, January 14th, and we played 4 different games. Oh, we also got together with Tom and Asha. I think Tom and Asha came over earlier in the day, and then Francis's parents came over a little bit later. It was a board game filled weekend, let me just tell you that. But we started off with Tom and Asha. We played Fleet the Dice game, which is one of our favorite roll and writes. This is a fantastic craunchy roll and write where you are rolling dice in a few different phases. I think it might be called the boat phase, but you are rolling dice that have different fish on it, and then you draft one of those fish dice and then scratch out the next in that specific track, and there are tracks for each of the fish, and you're getting different licenses and filling boats with fish for each of those different types of fish in order to get victory points. And then you're moving into, there's like an income phase as well as fishing phase to add fish to your boats. And then there's a town phase where you're able to fill in a bunch of different buildings. We have the, I forget what it's called, Dicey Waters expansion, I believe. It just adds some more buildings into the town, and each of the buildings get you different special abilities, and it is just such a good roll and write. There's also Three Sisters, which is pretty similar, but has a gardening theme to it instead of fishing, if that's more your thing. But yes, we played Fleet the Dice game with Tom and Asha, and then we also played Camel Up with them as well. Just finished talking about that one, but it's very fun. We played it with 4 players. I will say it is better Camel Up with more players. I think we played 6 players the first time and then 4 players, and I think I did like the 6-player better. I think it just works out with like the betting and being able to, in a 6-player game, like connect with another player and be able to like get victory points based off of what they do. You kind of like do a little agreement with another player, if that makes sense. And then we also, like I said, played some games with Francis's parents. We ended up playing It's a Wonderful World. So It's a Wonderful World is often, I've been hearing it's compared to Seven Wonders, which I can see because you are drafting cards. You're taking one giving the rest to the person beside you. You get another one from your opposite neighbor, taking a card, putting it to the next person beside you, continuing that until there's no cards, and then you're deciding which cards you are wanting to build and then which cards you're wanting to recycle to get resources. And ultimately, it is this like fantastic. I really enjoyed It's a Wonderful World. I will say I've also played it solo, and I'll talk to you guys about that in the solo video. But oh my goodness, it's such a fantastic puzzle of trying to figure out what cards you want to build and then recycling other cards in order to get these cubes that you put on the cards in order to build those cards. And then once you do get enough of those resources to build a card, that card goes into your production area where then it produces more resources in order for you to build more cards and then put them in. Oh, it's just so good. So much fun. I definitely recommend checking out It's a Wonderful World. It is on BGA, so if you want to check it out, see if you like it, play it on there, and then purchase it physically. It is a fantastic game. Both Francis' parents also really enjoyed it as well. And then we also played, like I mentioned a few games ago, we played Downtown Farmers Market again. Very cute, Sudoku-esque veggie produce game. Freaking love that one. I need to figure out a way to play Downtown Farmers Market solo. If anyone knows if there is a Downtown Farmers Market or Lost Seas solo variant, please let me know. They both play the same, so I'm sure if there's a variant for Lost Seas, I could just take that variant and apply it to Downtown Farmers Market. The next day I played a few games solo. The next day I played a few games solo. That following Tuesday, Francis and I played Underwater Cities, which Underwater Cities is a tableau builder, worker placement, city builder, engine builder. We really enjoy this game. We played it one time forever ago when we first purchased it, and then it's been a very long time since we played it a second time, and this was our second time playing it, and we both forgot how good and how much we enjoyed Underwater Cities. It is published by Delicious Games, and Francis and I both enjoy tableau building, engine building games, and this one has a really cool mechanic where you're placing a worker on the board, and the worker placement spots have 3 different colors, and if you play a card that matches the color where you put your worker, you get to do both of those actions, which is really cool and something unique that I love about Underwater Cities. So you're trying to play the specific colored cards to match the places that you're placing workers in order to maximize what you're doing on your turn. And you're also trying to grow this underwater city and putting these domes in and these different buildings that I think 3 times during the game you get to let your underwater city produce and get you more resources in order to do more things on your turn. It is just such a fantastic engine builder that I am surprised Francis and I have not played more. I think unfortunately when it comes to like content creation in the board game space and just us getting into this whole world and accumulating board games pretty quickly, unfortunately, there's some games in our collection that we played once, absolutely loved, but then we just haven't had a chance to play it again, and Underwater Cities is one that happened to, and I'm very happy that we ended up getting to play it again. So yes, that is Underwater Cities, absolutely fantastic. And then a few days later, so that was a Tuesday, the next following Saturday, Francis and I played a few games, just the 2 of us. One being Viscounts of the West Kingdom. This is the second in the Garful Games West Kingdom trilogy. We've played Architects of the West Kingdom, and then we finally got a chance to play Viscounts of the West Kingdom, and I think I might enjoy Viscounts more than I do Architects. In Architects, you are doing more worker placement, and then you're also like, the more workers you place on a spot, the more resources you get, and you're putting your opponent's workers into jail and stuff like that, and working up a tableau of like building cards and assistant cards and stuff like that. But in Viscounts, it's very different, where it's this like micro tableau builder, almost like a conveyor belt builder, if that makes sense. But basically you're playing a card out and you have 3 different spots on your little conveyor belt. You are actually taking a cart off your conveyor belt, moving things over, and then placing a new card on. And whatever cards you have in front of you, those 3 cards, the number of tags that you have on each of those cards determines what you can do on your turn, how many spots you can move. I believe, yeah, the card that you play has like a number that you can move in the top left-hand corner, and then you're counting up the icons and then deciding what action you want to do out of, I think, 4 different actions, like main actions. And you're going around a rondel and you're building different buildings and getting workers on this like middle castle and collecting. It's kind of a little bit of a deck building game as well, because you're getting victory points at the end of the game for everything that is in your hand. So it's a very, very interesting game, and it is nothing like Architects of the West Kingdom, and for some reason I was expecting them to be like kind of similar, but they are completely different, and I really enjoy both of them, but ultimately I do think that I enjoy Viscounts of the West Kingdom a little bit more based off of the first play. We probably do need to play it more to really figure that out, but we also have Paladins now, so we need to get that to the table. And then I think I will be doing a full video on comparisons between the 3 in the West Kingdom series, so get excited for that eventually. I do want to play all 3 of them multiple times before I make that video, so it might be a while, but get excited for that in the future. But yes, we played Viscounts of the West Kingdom, and then we also played a new game from Thunderworks Games. This is called Goblin Vaults, and this is in the same world as Cartographers, as well as Role Player, which I will be chatting about soon, as well as what other games? There's Role Player, Cartographers, Lockup, I believe, is another game in that kind of Thunderworks Games world, but Goblin Vaults is just a smaller card game. It's a little bit of like a betting card game, but there's also a little bit of like tableau building and set collection, which I love. But basically there are 3 cards that everyone is betting on, and you have cards in your hand that you can play, and then whoever has the highest number wins that specific card that they're betting on. There's ways for you to underbet so that you can just play the card that you or you get the card into your tableau that you played, if that makes sense. So if there's a card in your hand that you wanted more than the 3 on the table you're betting on, you can kind of underbet purposefully in order to just get that card that you played and put that into your tableau. They have a bunch of different objective cards, so you can change it up every single game, and it was very fun. We played a 2-player game, which I think in a 2-player game they have like a little AI off to the side to also bet. But I'm really excited to play this with more players. I don't know the maximum. I think it might be up to 6 players, so this might be one to play with the like whole family. I think it would be very, very fun. But that one is now available over on the Thunderworks Games website, and I believe it's coming to retail, your friendly local game store, very soon as well. But a very, very fun set collection bidding game. I typically don't like bidding games, but it was a very, very fun one that we had a chance to play. So yes, that was that. And then I played some solo games. I played some games that I am not going to talk about as of yet because I will be covering them on the channel. And then for the last few games, Francis and I ended up playing Tapestry, finally. This is published by Stonemaier Games, and Tapestry has been one that I have been very, very curious about for a super long time, and that's because I've heard so many mixed things about this game, but it always looked so amazing to me. The production of this game is out of this world. Oh my gosh. I played Tapestry on BGA a few times, but I didn't actually learn how to play it. I kind of just played it without knowing. I typically do that quite a bit on BGA, but I finally got a physical copy. Huge thank you to Stonemaier Games for sending that over. I will be actually covering the new expansion for Tapestry, the Fantasies and Futures, I believe that's what it's called. I will be covering that on the channel, but we played Tapestry, just the base game, physically, and this game is so good. I think this might be one of my new favorites, we will see, but I really enjoyed it. Basically in Tapestry, you have your own different faction, and I think a lot of people, the mixed things that I've heard is just the factions, the different factions being very unbalanced, and Jamie from Stonemaier Games has tried his hardest to balance them out and fix some things with that. And like I said before, I don't really care about that part of games. Like, I don't care if my faction is not as good as another faction, and I don't care how the game ends in the end. So I think this is a great game for me where, like, I enjoy the gameplay of Tapestry, and yes, maybe some of the factions are unbalanced, but I don't care because I don't care if I win or not. But basically in this game, you have your faction, you have your capital city where you are building out with different buildings, and you're trying to fill in these boxes, and you're trying to fill in the columns and rows in order to get victory points. You're playing tapestry cards every era, which get you different things, different bonuses. There are 4 tracks along the outside, and on your turn, you are literally just using your resources in order to just go up 1 track, which I think is just like so funny that like that is what you're doing on your turn. But then everything else kind of combines in there. You can do like the science track, which gets you different dice rolls in order to go up on all the other tracks. And you have the exploration track, which gets you these tiles that you can put out into the center of the board. You also have the military track, which then, because you have those tiles in the center of the board, you can conquer different tiles and push over other people. So there's a little bit of area control there. Typically in Tapestry, the few games that I've played, I kind of ignore the military because if you guys do not know, I am not a huge fan of area control. And in games where I can kind of ignore it, like Tapestry and like Scythe, from Stonemaier Games as well, I kind of just ignore that part of the game, which I really like when games do that, where it gives you the option to do area control if you want to, but you don't have to. But yes, you can do the military, and then there's also the technology track, I believe the other one is, the yellow track, where you get these technology cards and you're like upgrading your technology. Really enjoy that track, and I am so excited to dive into Tapestry more. I actually joined the Tapestry Facebook group, and I want to know how to do this game better. I want to improve. I want to try all the different factions, and the new expansion actually brings in even more factions and more capital city maps and more tapestry cards and more technology cards. Oh, I'm just so excited to explore Tapestry more. So yes, for those of you who are wondering my opinions on Tapestry, I really, really enjoy it. And I am very sad that it's been this long. It's taken me this long to try it. So yes, that is Tapestry. The last board game night that we had with Francis's parents, the first game that we ended up playing is Role Player. This is by Thunderworks Games. It's in the same universe as Goblin Vaults, like I told you guys, as well as Cartographers. And basically you are wanting to create the best character. The whole game is based on making a character, which I think is so much fun. You get to like pick what type of character. You can be a human, an orc, an elf, all of these different things, and then you're just working on their stats and stuff with this little like dice puzzle, which reminds me a little bit of like Sagrada, where you're trying to have each row add up to a certain amount with the dice faces, but then you're also trying to get certain colors of dice in certain spots, and you're moving your alignment around, and you're also like buying cards that will help you throughout the game, and it is just such a satisfying game to me. I love the mix of purchasing these cards that like help you, but then also having that like dice mitigation puzzle in the middle. Super fun. And the funniest thing is that we played this the night before. Francis and I actually went over to my sister's house the next day, and we started our first ever D&D campaign. So it was pretty cool to kind of have that experience, and then the next day go into our first D&D campaign where we were creating our characters. I ended up being a druid, which I am super happy with, and I'm excited to explore that more and learn like the spells more and stuff like that, and build my character up and start doing the animal shape shifting and stuff that druids do. But yes, very excited to do more of the D&D stuff. But back to Role Player, really, really enjoyed it. We also have the Monsters and Minions expansion, which allows you to create your character kind of based around the monster, I believe, that you're going to go fight. So I guess it kind of like gives you a certain thing that you're going towards instead of just building your character however you want. But yes, we played Role Player, and then lastly, I have a hair on me. Lastly, we ended up getting Scout to the table, finally. I finally picked this game up on Board Game Bliss when they got it back in stock, and I finally could see what all of the hype is about. Scout is such a fun freaking game. Oh my goodness, it's such a simple game, but yet the different things that you do in it to change it up is just so entertaining to me. Basically, you have a set of cards in your hand that you get dealt, but you're not allowed to move them around in your hand. They have two different sides, so you can decide at the beginning of the game if you want it this side up, or you flip them over and have the other side up. And you are trying to play either sets of cards, so like a 1, 2, 3, or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or a 4, 5, 6, anything like that. You're trying to play those down, or you're trying to play sets, so like a set of 3 1s or 2 4s or something like that. And you're trying to beat the person that played cards before you. So for example, if Francis put down a run of 1, 2, 3, I would either have to play something higher than that. So I would have had to play, it has to be 3 cards or 4 cards in order to beat it. But in order to beat a 1, 2, 3, I would have to play a 2, 3, 4 or a 3, 4, 5 or a 4, 5, 6. Or I could also play 3 of a certain number. So I could play 3 3s in order to beat his run, because sets always beat runs. And you're trying to just get the most cards and the most money, because then people can actually scout from the cards in front of you. If they can't beat you, they have to take one of the cards that you played. It's a little bit kind of confusing to explain, but basically you're trying to get the most cards and the most money from people scouting from you. Overall, the theme is not really there. Basically, you're like scouting different acts for your circus, but it's literally just cards, and it is so much fun, and I definitely recommend it. It definitely surprised me. I knew that a lot of people hyped about it, but I can see why now. But yes, we played Scout 2 different times actually, and we probably will play it again tonight. I do want to end off the video with my top 3 games of the month. This is going to be very difficult because I genuinely enjoyed so many of the games this month, but I think obviously Wayfarers of the South Tigris is going to be one of them. I think in the past I did like bronze, silver, and gold. I think going into this year, I think I'm just gonna give my top 3, not in any order. I'm just gonna do top 3 games of the month. So Wayfarers of the South Tigris, I really, really enjoyed that one. I think my second one, Unconscious Mind. I hate that I'm putting this into my top 3, but hopefully it'll just get you guys more excited for when the Kickstarter fulfills. Oh, this is hard, because I really enjoyed It's a Wonderful World as well, but then I also enjoyed Viscounts of the West Kingdom, but then I also enjoyed Tapestry and Role Player and Scout. Oh, this is freaking hard, guys. Okay, Wayfarers of the South Tigris, Unconscious Mind, and final one of the 3, I think Tapestry. I think Tapestry, guys. So that was probably the most difficult of the top games of the month that I've had to do so far, which I think that's actually a really good sign that January was a great month of gaming. We played so many good games this month, and so good. So anyways, that is going to be everything for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, give this video a big thumbs up. Comment down below what your favorite games of January were. I would love to know. Hit that subscribe button if you get to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. Check out all the links down below for Discord, Twitch, Patreon, all those things. I love you guys so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Bye, friends!